Good morning. Trying to get this playlist posted for you. There it is. Okay. Good morning. Happy Sunday. I just posted our playlist for the week underneath this live video and underneath the image that I posted yesterday, so you can find it in either of those locations if you want to listen along. Give everyone about a minute or so to get logged on, to get settled in. Then we'll get started. We are going to start lying down on our backs this morning in Shavasana, so if you are here and if you have everything you need situated and ready to go, you can find a comfortable variation lying down on your back, and I will meet you there in just a moment. Give everyone just another, 30 seconds or so for anyone who's hopping on live, and then we'll get rolling. So good morning again. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Erica. I'm going to be guiding you through your weekly yoga flow. So go ahead and make sure you have what you need. If you have any props or blocks that you're going to use, have them close by. Maybe some water, or if it's still time for you to caffeinate your coffee or your tea. You can go ahead and lie down on your back. Start your music if you're listening to anything. I've dropped a playlist for you if you want to listen along with me. And then go ahead and lie down on your backs. Get nice and comfortable. Close your eyes and start to settle in. Just start to take some deep breaths. Filling all the way up on the inhale breath, followed by slow and controlled and full exhales. When I mean full exhales, make sure you are releasing all of that breath, letting it all go. Take a few rounds of that slow, full inhale and exhale. Hopefully feeling the body start to settle in and calm down. And hopefully in turn the mind will start to settle in and calm down or quiet down a little. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for just a few minutes, yourself included. So this is kind of our equivalent of unplugging. Trying to forget about whatever awaits you the rest of this day or the coming week. Just taking a little bit of time out of your day for yourself to do just that, to unplug, to reset, to restart. And just giving yourself permission to slow down for a few moments right here to find your center, to find your calm before we start to move. I'm going to join you lying down, and I want to take a few more breaths here, and then we're just going to take a little bit of a variation on our backs. So if you're not there already, make sure you are lying down. Eyes are closed if that's comfortable for you. If it's not, obviously you don't have to. Just a nice way to kind of bring your focus inward on your body and on your breath and not worry about what you see, what's going on around you. Then I want you to bring a bend into your right leg. Let the knee fall out wide. Sole of the right foot's going to come along the inside of the left leg. Doesn't matter how high it comes. Then just let that knee fall out to the side. Arms can stay along by the side. They can come out to a T. They can come to the chest and to the belly to really connect with your breath. Whatever feels good for you. But try not to clench or engage that right glute. Try to just let it feel heavy. Really try to let that right knee fall out to the side for a couple of breaths. Gently waking up that hip area. take one more nice deep inhale and exhale here. Very slowly, let's straighten out that right leg to meet the left. Give it a moment just to kind of settle in. And then let's bring a bend into the left leg. Knee drops out to the side, sole of the left foot, somewhere along the inside of your right leg. Doesn't matter how high or low it is on the leg. Doesn't matter if it's close to the knee area at this point because we're not putting any pressure on that straight leg. Our focus here is letting that left knee fall out wide. Relaxing the glute muscles on the left side. I don't know about you, I feel my back start to arch and my glutes start to tense, so just trying to relax that, release that. Take a couple breaths to settle in. Arms can fall wherever they're comfortable for you. Let's take one more nice deep breath here. Inhaling, filling all the way up. Exhaling, letting it go. Good, straighten the left leg out to meet the right. Let's take a full body stretch. Extend the arms overhead if you have the space. If your space is limited, you can reach for opposite elbows. Squeeze the legs together to touch, point the toes. Feel like you're being pulled in opposite directions. Suck in that belly. Take a breath. Good, then hug your knees in toward your chest. So bringing a bend into both legs, wrapping the arms around the front of the legs. Give yourself a nice little squeeze. Good, maybe rock side to side, maybe find some stillness. I want you to keep your right leg hugged in tight, and then your left leg's going to slowly extend all the way to the earth, to your mat. Good. Top body, if your head and shoulders are lifted, can relax against the mat. Give your right leg a nice little squeeze in. And then I want you to start to invite some movement by taking some circles on this right side. You can keep both hands engaged. I like to just hold it with my right hand for two reasons. I feel like my range of motion is not restricted with my left hand connected to my knee. And I also like to bring my left hand sometimes out to the side, but I also like to make sure it's on my left hip that's not lifting. So taking some gentle circles with this right knee. And then staying with the right leg, just reversing the direction of your circles. Go nice and slowly here. We're just waking up, warming up the body. Good. When you're feeling pretty even in both directions, bring that right knee back in. This time you are going to reach for it with your left hand. Put the left hand to the outer edge of the right knee. Right hand can extend out long to the side. And gently guide the knee across the body for a spinal twist. So left leg straight, right leg is bent, coming across the body. Right arm extended to the side, gazing off that right arm. So even if the eyes are closed, just looking in that direction, getting a little bit of a deeper twist. Try to keep that right shoulder connected. And twist a little bit deeper from the core each time you take an exhale breath. Settling in here for two more. Good. Slowly releasing out of this, coming back center. Let's hug both knees back in. Good. Give yourself a nice little squeeze, maybe feeling a little different on one side compared to the other, which is totally normal and expected here. Good. This time, let's keep the left leg hugged in. And very slowly, we extend the right leg long all the way to the mat or to the earth. Good. Hug that left knee in here. Good. Give it a little squeeze. And then we're going to invite those movements again. So I like to keep my left hand connected. Extend my right hand out, either to my hip or to the side, as I start to invite some slow circles with that knee. But it's really the hip that's taking the movement here. We're just kind of using the knee to guide us in this circle. Make sure that hip's not lifting. Good. And then just reverse the direction. And if you're anything like me where you have some tightness in the hip flexors, I feel this already. Taking one more full circle, coming back center. Right hand's going to reach for the outer edge of the left knee. Left arm can extend out to the side. And slowly guide that left knee across the body as far as it will comfortably go without putting too much strain on your back, without this left shoulder wanting to pop up off your mat. Good. Turn to face that left arm even if your eyes are closed. Don't hold your breath here while we're twisted, and make sure you're trying to twist a little bit deeper with each exhale breath as you settle in to the spinal twists for 2 more full breaths. Inhale. Exhale for 1. Inhale. Exhale for 2. Coming back center. Let's hug both knees into the chest one final time here on our backs. Give a nice little squeeze. And then let's take some gentle rocks up and down the length of our mat. If it feels good on your back, depending on your surface, take a few. It's like a little massage. If it doesn't, just use this as a way to get up into our easy seat with crossed legs. Doesn't matter which leg's in front. We're not here very long today. Good. And while we're here, before we continue our practice, if you'd like to take a moment to set an intention for your practice, you can absolutely bring something into your heart, into your mind that you're working on. I always think of an intention as to what it is you're creating energy for. Where do you want your focus to go? It can be yoga specific or not. Okay. And once you've done that, let's start to invite some shoulder movements in here. So as you inhale, bring the shoulders up to the ears. On the exhale, roll them down the back. So yeah, one more time in this direction. Inhale, shoulders come up high. Good. Exhale, roll them down nice and slow. We're going to come forward this time. Inhale, shoulders to ears. Exhale, roll them forward. Good. Inhale, up one more time. Exhale, breath, they come down. Good. And we're going to get into the hips a little bit here too. So I want you to, I need to scoot back a tiny bit on my mat. Bring a bend into the legs, plant the soles of your feet. Hands can plant just slightly behind the hip area. And I want you to just gently drop the knees. They don't have to be touching. Mine are slightly apart. Just gently drop them side to side as you roll to the outer edges of the feet. Good. Take this nice and slowly. Again, hips are an area we store a lot of tightness and stress and tensions. It's just a nice, gentle way, kind of in an active stretch, some mobility movement to wake up, warm up, loosen up that hip area. Let's go one more time to each side. And then let's just straighten the legs out. So you might need to bump your sits bones back a little bit so you stay on your mat. Legs straight out in front of you. Inhale, breath brings the arms out and overhead. Suck in that belly nice and tall through the spine. Exhale brings us forward into our forward fold, our seated variation. So this is staff pose with a forward fold. Try to make sure that your spine's not really round. You want to keep it nice and flat and lead with your heart. Okay, maybe your chest is touching your legs. Maybe it's very far from it. It doesn't matter. You should be feeling a nice stretch in the back of the legs and even through the lower back. Good. Close your eyes. Settle in here for a couple of breaths. Maybe point and flex the feet. Good for ankle mobility, but it also changes the stretch slightly in the back of the body. Good. Let's take one more full deep breath here so you can get a little bit closer as you draw your chest to your legs. Take a nice deep inhale. Good. Slow, controlled exhale. Good. Your breath is your most important tool that will allow you to settle into sometimes these uncomfortable stretches. Slowly, let's start to lift out of this, and we're just going to come over into our tabletop pose. So coming into all fours. Making sure that your knees are straight down from your hips, wrists are straight down from the shoulders, belly's nice and engaged, knees about 2 fist width distance apart. Good. And let's take a couple of cat-cows here. So as you inhale, drop your belly, arch the spine, lift your gaze, maybe tuck your toes. Good. And on the exhale, untuck the toes, press through the palms as you lift that spine high to the sky and your gaze comes inward. 2 more times. Inhale, drop the belly, tuck the toes, lift the gaze. Exhale, press through the palms, round the spine, gaze comes inward. Good. Final time, moving with your breath. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, tuck the toes. Exhale, really press through those palms, bring that spine up high to the sky, with that angry cat. And then meeting back in our neutral spine. Good. We're going to put our right toes toward the back of the mat and to get them down to touch. We're going to get a nice little calf stretch here. So very gentle and slow, forward and back off the ball of the foot. We don't want to do anything too quickly. We don't want any jerking type of movement. Nice and slow and controlled. Good. Coming back, finding some stillness here. So just a gentle calf stretch. Let's lift that right leg, hip height. Feel that glute engage. Keep the foot flexed. And then let's bring that left arm extended out long in front of us, almost like you were going to shake someone's hand, shoulder height. Good. Suck in the belly. And we're going to take a couple elbow to knee crunches here, so you'll have that same back movement with your cat-cows. So as you bring your left elbow to your right knee, spine rounds. Extend everything out long. You get a little bit of that arch in the spine. Let's do that 2 more times. Left elbow to right knee. Release it all out long, nice and slowly. 1 more time. See if you can get them to touch. Release it out long. Hold it for just a breath. And then let's lower. Starting to build a little bit of heat in the body here. Left toes to the back of the mat. You're on the ball of your foot. Get that calf stretch in. If you took some gentle rocks back and forth here on the first side, we want to try to mirror that here on our second side. Good. If you're taking movements, coming back to that static stretch. And then we're going to lift that left leg hip height. Flex that foot. Feel the glute engage. Make sure the hip's not opening. Hip flexor should be facing your mat. Right arm extends, shaking someone's hand. And we're going to take that same back mobility movement as our cat-cows as we bring in some crunches here. So right elbow to left knee. See if you can get them to touch. Release everything out long. Nice and slow and controlled movements here. Right, this is what we call a slow burn. Right elbow, left knee. Release everything out long. 1 more time. Crunch it in. Good. Get it to touch if you can. Release it out long. Hold it for just a moment. Good. And then gently lower everything back to our tabletop. Let's tuck our toes. Let's lift the knees and just shift the weight back for a moment. You might feel a really big stretch in your Achilles, in your ankles, along your arches, your toes. Okay, it's nice with bare feet. We can really get these toe and ankle and foot stretches in. Good. Usually we're in shoes, right? Sometimes not so comfortable shoes. Good. And then let's slowly start to lower the heels as we lift the hips, finding our first downward facing dog. And really take a moment to settle in here and check your alignment. So making sure your fingers are nice and spread. Feet are about inner hips width distance apart. Thinking about lowering the heels as you lift the hips. Head should be in line with the spine. And you're gently melting your chest back towards your thighs. Maybe pedal out the feet here a little bit. Maybe gently shake the head yes or no. Whatever gets you comfortable and settled in here. Good. Whatever you're doing, making sure you're even on both sides. Coming back to center when you're ready. Let's take a slow roll out to our high plank just to check our alignment. So high plank is the top of a push-up. Good. Make any adjustments you need to with your hands and your feet. Good. And then slowly, without moving the hands and the feet, lift your hips as you start to lower the heels. This should be a perfectly aligned downward facing dog. If you need to make some micro adjustments, go ahead. Good. Take a nice deep breath. And then we're going to take a very slow walk, 1 step at a time to the top of our mats. Top body hangs heavy. We're going to meet at the top in a forward fold. Good. So just like our staff pose we took seated with that forward bend, now we're doing it just a little bit standing variation. So try to keep the legs straight or close to it. Micro bends are fine, right? If you feel like this is really hard, even try putting a deep bend in the legs for a moment. Bring the chest closer to the thighs and then slowly start to straighten out. See how that feels. Good. On your next inhale breath, let's come to a halfway lift. So inhale, flat spine, hands to shins. Exhale, fold. That halfway lift lets us create a little bit of space, so hopefully we can fold a little bit deeper. Good. Inhale, arms come out as we slowly rise to stand. No rush at all here. Arms nice and wide. Big stretch, arms meet overhead. Maybe a very gentle back bend. And your next exhale breath, part the hands, swan dive back into your forward fold. Plant the palms in front of the feet. Let's step back 1 foot at a time to our high plank pose. We're not going to flow yet. Let's just hold this for 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift the hips, lower the heels, downward facing dog. Now we're going to move through those same few movements we just did. We're just going to pick up the pace here a little bit to take 1 breath, 1 movement. We'll start with the slow walk. If you want to hop to the top, you can. If that's in your practice, we'll meet in that forward fold. Good. Once you're all there, inhale for the halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, breath brings you slow rise to stand. This is Urdhva Hastasana, our upward salute. Good. Exhale, we bring it back down. Plant the palms, step back to plank pose. Again, let's hold it for 5. Let's fire up that core just a little bit. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift the hips, lower the heels, back to downward facing dog. Good. Hopefully we're feeling a little bit warmer now, ready to move a little bit. Our class is short and we don't go too quick, so I don't really call too many breaks, but if you need one at any point, feel free to take a child's pose or grab a sip of water or just hang out here in your down dog, whatever serves you best. But we're going to get moving with our first standing sequence. So we're in our downward facing dog. We're going to lift the right leg for a 3-legged dog. Doesn't matter how high it comes. Try to keep the hips square. Good. Now we're going to bend the knee, open the hip. So we can take them out of that square position, stacking hips, bend that right leg. See if you can open up that hip a little bit here. Good. Squaring them back off so your hip flexors facing the ground, your right leg is straight. Come forward to our plank as the knee comes into the nose, high on the left toes. And then we step the right foot between the hands, finding low lunge. Okay, right foot's flat and connected, high on the ball of the left foot. This is a great place for blocks if you want to bring the earth a little bit closer to you. You can keep your peace fingers connected, or you can even hover for a little bit. If you want to hover, really engage your core and your inner thighs. Okay, make sure we're getting that nice deep bend in that right leg. We're looking for that 90-degree angle. Go, let's take one more breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Lower the left knee. Untuck the toes. And we're going to come into crescent lunge. You can start, I like to start with my hands interlaced on top of that right knee. So we're gently melting forward and down. The stretch here should be felt along this left hip flexor. You might need to bump the right foot up a little. You might need to bump that left knee back a little. Making sure we're square to the front. Good. If you'd like to take a different arm variation, you're welcome to. We have a couple of breaths here. Good. And in just another breath or so, we're going to take a little twist. So let's take another full breath here. And then we're going to twist with this left elbow to the outside of the right knee, hands to prayer. Maybe even gazing off that right elbow. Don't lose the stretch in the hip flexor here. Good. If this doesn't feel good, you don't have to do it. But we're going to take this into a twisted lunge. So it takes a little balance, takes a little engagement again of the inner thighs here. So if you want to release the twist, you can. If you want to challenge yourself, tuck the back toes. Straighten out that leg, coming into a twisted lunge. Good, let's hold this for 2 full breaths. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale for 1. Good, inhale. Exhale for 2. Keeping the legs, I know they're burning. We're just going to untwist, finding a high lunge. Separate the hands. Pinkies spiral in, shoulders away from the ears. Come high on those left toes so you can really sink into that right leg. Nice deep bend here. Straight leg pose coming up next, so give it all you've got for another breath. Good. Hands come to prayer and slowly start to shift and lift into warrior 3. Now, I don't know about you, my right leg's burning a little bit. Get a little relief with it straight. Good. That left leg's extended hip height behind you. Left foot is flexed hard. Find your dristi, something that is small and not moving that you can stare at. If you want to take this modified, all you have to do is drop your fingertips to blocks or to the ground. Good. One more breath. Now listen carefully. We're going to step forward. Left leg's going to meet the right. Bend both legs like you're sitting in a chair. Legs glued together. Arms come straight up. Chair pose. Tuck the tailbone under. We're not popping the booty here. Good. Take nice deep breath in. Let it go. Arms come behind you, almost like you're downhill skiing for just a minute. Bring that belly close to the thighs. Don't let those legs part. If you can, interlace the hands at the low back. And then slowly start to straighten the legs, forward fold. Maybe even if you have some better range of motion than I do in the shoulders, you can even lift that double fist off your back. If you don't like this interlaced hand variation, you can just release it into a traditional forward fold. Let's take one more full breath. If you still have the interlaced hand variation, you can release it and drop the hands right in front of the feet. We're going to step back to high plank. Now, first time here to take our flow if you want to. If you don't want to, you can hold this plank. You can throw in some push-ups. You can go right to down dog or take a break. If you want to flow with me, inhale to prepare. Exhale, we lower halfway through our push-up. Inhale, find our back bend of choice. So maybe it's just feet and hands for upward facing dog. Maybe you lower the hips and thighs for high cobra. The wider your feet are, the less intense this will be on your lower back. But if that's too much even, just lift halfway for a low cobra. Good. And rolling over back in a downward facing dog for our second side. Good. Once you're back in down dog, take a moment, take a breath. Good. When you're ready, we'll find the three-legged dog with the left leg. At first, just like we did last time, let's keep the hips square for a moment while we settle in. See if you can get that heel closer to the earth. See if you can get that left leg a little bit higher. Good. And then let's bend that knee, stack the hips. See how we can feel this variation slightly differently. Good. Coming back to square hips, straight left leg. The knee comes into the nose, that angry cat back. Hover here. Get that knee nice and high if you can. And then step through, finding your low lunge. So left foot's fully connected. We're high in the ball of the right foot. Starting with my peace fingers down, and you know you can stay there. Blocks, you don't have blocks, find books, pillows, something that can serve as blocks. Blocks are a great prop and they're super cheap. So if you're into this yoga thing, I would highly suggest you get a set. Good. Really engage that inner thigh. Make sure the belly's not resting. Good, let's take one more breath. And dropping that right knee, untucking the toes, starting with the hands interlaced on that left knee. Again, make any adjustments you need to by moving the left foot forward, right knee back. And then slowly, and it might just be a small movement, stretch along that right hip flexor in our crescent lunge. Good. If you took a different arm variation on the first side, you can try to take the same one here. Give another few breaths before we take our twist. Good. Preparing to twist. This time we're going to hook the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Hands come to prayer, gazing off that left elbow. Nice gentle twist from the core. I don't know about you guys, but I feel a nice, because my elbow's hooked here, I feel a nice stretch, like in my upper right back and shoulder, like a little through my trap and my lat, that's good too, right? Getting the whole body here today. Good. Preparing to tuck the toes and lift into that twisted lunge. Good. Still gazing off that left elbow. See if you can twist a little bit deeper for one more breath. Slowly and with control, we untwist, but we keep the bend of the lunge. High lunge here. Pinky spiral in, shoulders away from the ears. My favorite little micro adjustment, which makes such a big difference. Come high on the ball of the right foot so you can really settle into that left leg. Good. One more full breath. You know we have straight legs coming up next, so settle in for a final breath here in your high lunge. Hands come to prayer, and slowly and with control, shift and lift. Warrior 3. Find your drishti, press those palms at prayer at center. Try to get your head, back, hips, right leg all in a line, making a T shape. Take any different arm variation you'd like. You can take this modified by bringing the hands down to the ground or to blocks or peace fingers. One more full breath, and we're going to take that step up to chair pose. So right leg steps to meet the left, bent legs. Good. Squeeze them together Arms come straight up overhead. Again, shoulders away from ears, pinkies spiral just like in our high lunge. Tuck that tailbone under. See if you can sit a little bit lower. Good, and like we're downhill skiing, let's bring those arms behind us. Really get the belly close to the thighs. Good. If it's available, see if you can interlace them. And then slowly start to straighten the legs. Again, you can keep that double fist. If you can lift it off the lower back, go for it. If it's too much, release it at any point. A little bit of work there, right, guys? Good. Take one more breath. And then let's slowly lower the hands. We're in our traditional forward fold. Good. Plant the palms. Step back to your high plank. You know your options. You can hold it. You can come right to down dog. If you need a break, take a quick sip. If you want to flow, inhale. Exhale brings you halfway down. Arms hugging the sides of the body. Inhale, find your back bend of choice. High cobra is always my go-to. And then downward facing dog. Guys, why don't you drop the knees for just a moment, find hero's pose or child's pose, take a quick sip of water. If you want to hold that down dog or throw in anything else, you can. Super quick 2-second break, and then we're going to get into one more short standing sequence. Okay, got a little bit of balance here. Couple bigger stretches. And then we'll be bringing it down. So whenever you're ready, if you need to take a few more moments, go ahead. If you're not watching this live, you guys know you can always pause and come back whenever you need, but we're going to go into downward facing dog. Good. Should feel very different than it did our first time here. I don't know about you guys, I'm feeling much warmer. Got a little bit of a sweat going, so my muscles are warm. Ready to move and get into some deeper stretches. So we're going to meet at the top of the mat. Maybe you want to take that slow walk. If you want to take a hop, bend the knees deeply. Take a nice hop to the top. Meet in forward fold. However you want to get there. And then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, we'll take that rise to stand. Meaning in Tadasana, mountain pose. I'm going to back up a little bit just so my head doesn't get cut off on your screen. Okay. Make sure you're rooted through all four corners of both feet. Suck in the belly, nice and tall. Good. Coming into our tree pose. So we're going to bring the weight into our right foot. I like to start by just kind of kickstanding my left toes here. Get the weight in the right foot nice and settled. We're just bring that left knee into the chest. Ooh. And bring my hands to prayer. Hands to prayer for me, always pressing at that midline, always helps with my balance. Good. And then let's come into our tree pose. So whether the left sole of the foot connects to the right calf, maybe it comes to the inner thigh, whatever's available to you. Just make sure you're not putting direct pressure on that knee joint. The knees aren't intended to move laterally. I like to cross the leg in front actually. Good. It's more of a Bikram variation. Good. And you know you can keep your hands at prayer, or you can extend your branches any way you like. Maybe cactus just to open the chest. Maybe they come all the way up and out. Just make sure you're not holding your breath. Find your dristi, right? It's like a storm comes, you sway a little, but you stay nice and rooted through that right foot. And if you fall, you just get right back up into it, just like life, right? Good. 2 more breaths. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Good. Exhale. Left knee back into the chest. And then we're going to take a really big step back. So you're kind of tilt the top body forward just so you can extend that left leg and take a step toward the back of your mat. Good. So nice big space between the right foot and the left. And we're going to turn the toes to face the sidewall. Good. Let's take a nice gentle back bend. I like to bring my hands to my hips. Take a gentle back bend as you push those hips forward. Good. And your next exhale breath, gently fold forward over wide legs, finding Prasarita, our widest leg forward fold variation. And just hang heavy here. There are so many things you can do from this pose, but hanging heavy is one of them, and it's a great thing to do. So you can just hang here for a moment. If you want to walk the hands forward or back, you can. If you want to take a twist, you can. This is a great place for anyone who has an inversion practice to come into a tripod headstand. If you don't know how to do that, don't try it. it sounds fun, you want to learn more about it, just grab me, message me. Be happy to help. Good. Let's just hang here for another 2 breaths or so. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale for 1. Inhale. Exhale for 2. Good. Keeping the legs as they are. Let's lift the top body slightly. Bring the hands to prayer. We're going to take a ninja lunge skandasana to the right. So deep bend in that right leg. My right elbow is kind of on top of my right knee. Left leg is straight. Nice inner thigh stretch. Good. Nice big straight move on this right leg. So we're in a lunge toward the top of our mats. Good. And then we're just going to turn to find our low lunge. Good. Hands frame out that right foot. Step back to your plank pose. You guys know your options. I'll guide you through your flow. You don't have to take it if you don't want to. They're always optional. Inhale. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, find your back bend of choice. Good. Rolling over, downward facing dog. One more side. So again, however you'd like to get there. You can take the walk, or you can float or fly, bend the knees, give yourself a nice jump forward, forward fold at the top of the mat. And then a very slow rise. Head will be the last thing to lift, coming to stand to our mountain pose. And again, I'll back up so you can see me. You guys should be towards the top of your mats. Good. This time you're going to bring the weight into your left foot. And then this time the right knee is going to lift. So bring the knee toward the chest, hands to prayer heart center. Find your drishti. Really picture yourself rooted through that left foot and coming into your tree pose. So again, open that right knee to the side, sole the right foot to the calf, to the inner thigh if that's available to you, just not directly on the knee joint. Get that little cross in front is always helpful for me. Good, but really try to open that right knee to the side. You can keep your hands at prayer, or you can take any other variation. Come into cactus, growing your branches. Don't hold your breath while you're balanced. That will not help you here. Good, I have to remind myself all the time to breathe. And yeah, it's something I've really carried into my workouts at the gym too. I know sometimes when things are harder, I was talking to someone, I won't name any names, who was like, I just don't breathe. I forget to breathe when I'm working out. So it's such an important practice from our yoga practice that we can take into our workouts as well. Into life too, right? Deep breaths, always helpful. Let's take one more of them here. Good, wherever you are, let's bring that right knee back into the chest. Okay, then we're going to slowly and controlled take that big step back toward the back of our mat. And then we'll turn our toes. Good. Hands to the hips or lower back. Take that gentle back bend, push the hips forward. Maybe close the eyes so you don't get dizzy. And then on our next exhale breath, folding forward over wide legs. So with this posture in Prasarita, we don't have a dominant side. It's really the same exact thing we did on the first side. So if you want to do something a little bit different here, you can. We don't have to mirror what we did on the front. But again, you can walk your hands forward or back. You can take a gentle twist. You can just hang heavy. You can take an inversion. We're going to be here for probably another 3 to 4 slow inhales and exhales. Just close your eyes and settle in here. Sometimes just changing the grip for me from, an inner grip to an outer one changes how I can get into this fold. Good. Let's take one more full breath here, folded. And then we'll lift part way. I like to bring my hands to prayer here. We're going to take that ninja lunge skandasana to the front. So deep bend in the left leg. Nice inner thigh stretch on the right side with that straight leg. So you can get a little bit lower here. Make sure your left foot's fully connected. Got in slowly and with control. We're going to turn it to the front to meet back in our low lunge. Hands frame out the foot. Step back to your plank. If you choose to take it, we'll move through our final flow. Take a nice inhale to prepare. Exhale, arms hugging the side of the body. Inhale, find your back bend of choice. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Right leg lifts high to the sky. And then we're going to slowly start to come forward to our plank. Right knee is going to come behind that right wrist as we come into our pigeon pose. Okay, I'm gonna kind of shimmy my left toes toward the back of the mat. Right leg, it's not, for most people it's not gonna be parallel to the top, so it's probably gonna be a slight angle in toward the body. See how much space you have between your right glute and the mat. If you have a lot, grab a block, grab a couch pillow, grab a blanket, something you can kind of stick under there just to help with your alignment. You can stay lifted here. If this is too much, you can just come 90-90. Okay, 2 bent legs, 90-degree angles. But if you're okay, really extend that left leg long behind you, toes are untucked. And either keep the chest tall, or you can lower at any point, you can come to forearms, see how that feels. If you're feeling pretty open and warm today, maybe you can come to your forehead and extend your arms out in front of you. Make sure that left hip is not opening. Your left hip flexor should be facing your mat. Mine's kind of almost above my foot. I like a block under my forehead sometimes. Just kind of helps settle in. It's more comfortable than having my forehead all the way to the mat. And just take a couple of breaths. Good, really getting into that right hip. Breathing in, breathing out will help you kind of get to the point in this stretch where you can settle in. If something's painful, don't do it. But you guys know a little bit of discomfort is okay. Pain is not. Only you know the difference. If this is way too much, you guys know you can come onto your backs. If you're with me, we do that a lot, coming onto our backs with the right ankle on top of the left knee and just taking more of a supine or reclined pigeon is another nice option. Wherever you are, let's take 2 more full breaths. Nice and slow and steady. Good, very mindfully. We don't want to take anything too fast here as we're starting to slow down our practice. Start to come back to your palms if you are not on them, if you are lowered. Good, tuck your left toes. And you're going to gently start to lift that right leg back up to a 3-legged dog. Let's bend the knee. Open the hip, shake it out a little bit, bring some life back into it. Good. And then meeting back in downward facing dog. I'm going to go right into the pigeon second side. If you want to take a flow in between sides, you're certainly welcome to. Left leg lifts, 3-legged dog. Good. As you start to roll to your plank, left knee comes behind the left wrist. Swing the leg around. And then take your time as you find your alignment and start to settle into your pigeon. This side might feel completely different from the first. I know for me it does. It's a lot tighter. I have a lot more space between my hip, my glute here, and the ground. So I'm going to find that kind of sweet spot alignment. Take a couple of breaths here. Decide if I need to shove my block under there or not. That's a little too high. I need a pillow, but I don't feel like getting up to get one. So we'll just use the breath and settle in a little bit deeper here. But again, come to your forearms, come all the way down to the forehead to a block, whatever feels okay for you. Flex that left foot here. Make sure that right hip flexor is facing your mat. You don't want to roll onto that left hip and open up. I'd rather the left hip be away from the earth and you keep your proper alignment here. This is something that comes with time. And even me, I've been doing this for years and it's still not, as far as I'd like it to be, and that's okay. I honor and respect where my body is, and I just do what I can to work with it. Everyone's different, and every day is different. Just using your breath to settle in for a couple more breaths here in our pigeon. Breathing through any discomfort. If the breath can keep the body calm, it will take you out of that fight or flight that you sometimes get to in these poses or in your exercises, and will allow you to just kind of settle in here. So keep that breath steady. Just take one more full one here. Go ahead and very slowly, we don't want to move too quickly out of this, start to come back to the palms. If you were down, tuck the right toes, lifting that left leg back up to 3-legged dog, bending the knee, shaking out the hip. Back to downward dog, rolling out to our high plank, top of a push-up, and slowly and with control, we're going to lower all the way down to our bellies. Good. Bring your feet nice and wide, toes are untucked. palms are planted right underneath the shoulders. And let's all press up together to a high cobra. We're going to take 3, kind of a slow rolling high cobra. There's one, so gently, slowly lower. Maybe tap the forehead down or not. Good, inhale brings us up. Good, exhale breath brings you back down. One more time. Nice gentle back bend. Inhale breath, we rise. Press through those palms, straighten out the arms. Really drive those hip flexors into your mat. Good, and our next breath gently brings us back to the earth. Okay, let's roll over onto our backs. I'm going to just turn so you guys can see me, but keeping your head and your feet exactly as they are. Just roll over onto your back. Let's hug the knees into the chest. If there's any final poses you want to take here, maybe you want to take an inversion, maybe a couple bridge pose back bends, or a happy baby. I think I'm going to take Malasana, just a reclined prayer squat by bringing the knees open. You're looking for a little core work, you can do a couple crunches. I'm just going to give you a few breaths to do whatever it is that you feel your body needs right now. And if that's coming into early Shavasana, then do that. Because we're all going to be meeting you there in a few breaths anyway. Maybe you want to straighten the legs up for waterfall. Get that inversion for a couple of breaths. Good. In our happy baby, we reach for yogi toe lock or the outer edge of the feet. Draw the knees in toward the armpits. Feet facing the ceiling. I'm just going to take a couple gentle rocks side to side. My lower back's been really tight, so this feels nice for me. Let's take about 2 more breaths to do whatever you're doing. So if you need to even out with anything, go ahead and even out. Maybe you took another spinal twist. You have to hit that second side. Good. And then let's gently release everything onto the mat. Good. Finding your most comfortable variation of Shavasana where we started. Eyes closed. Arms and legs fall where they may. If you're on my playlist, I'm just going to skip ahead one. I don't know if you're with me or not, to Enya at the end for our final Shavasana song. Close your eyes. Settle in. Let's take a nice deep breath to help us really settle in here. So breathe in through the nose. Fill all the way up. Hold it for just a moment at the top. Open mouth. Let it all go. And settle in. Again, I said this at the beginning of class, just unplugging for a few moments. Giving yourself permission to slow down. It's okay. It will recharge you for whatever lies ahead. We somehow have come to look at, calming down, slowing down, relaxing, resting as a negative thing in our society that's always on the go. But it's such an important part of our yoga practice and something we need to carry off our mats into our lives. Unplug for a few minutes. Right? Cliche, you can't fill from an empty cup. So take a few moments here, a couple breaths just to settle in. Try to find as much stillness as you can. That's why we try to find our most comfortable variation of this pose so we can just be. Challenge yourself if you can not to fidget. Just to close the eyes, just to focus on your breath. If your mind wanders, bringing it back to your intention. Feeling grounded and supported, feeling safe, feeling grateful, hopefully. Taking just a few more moments here. Now, if your day is going to allow you to stay longer, please do so. You can pause me, turn me off, mute me. But for anyone who is ready to come out of this, just start to invite some gentle movements into the body. Start maybe just wiggling the fingers or toes, rolling out the wrists or ankles. Maybe a gentle rock of the head. Try not to disturb the peace that you hopefully just created for yourself. Extend the arms and legs out long. Nice full body stretch. Good. Suck in that belly. Again, feel like you're being pulled in opposite directions. Nice and long. Good. Then hug those knees into the chest. Good. Rolling over onto your right side, finding fetal pose. And then using your left hand for some support to gently guide yourself into a seated position. If you remember which leg you crossed with earlier, try to cross with the opposite. If not, we're not here too long. It won't make too big of a difference. Good. Maybe palms are up or down or at heart center, whatever resonates with you at this point in your practice. Good. Let's close class with a nice deep collective breath. Inhale through the nose. Fill all the way up. Open mouth, let it go. I like to end class with my hands at prayer heart center, bowing the head toward the heart. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through your practice. It's truly my pleasure and my honor. Accept what is. Let go of what was. Have faith in what will be. Namaste. Thank you guys all so much. Hope everyone is feeling great. Enjoy the rest of your day.